Hey everyone, Clio here, and welcome to another reading vlog. I've just said goodbye to past week's reading vlog, and I'm here to introduce the next one because this week I'm going to be challenging myself. I'm going to be banning Booktube during the work week at least. I think what I want to do is during the work week, I won't be watching any Booktube. I will be marking certain videos as watch later so that during the weekend I can watch those. And perhaps I'll do like a sprint on Friday evening as well, because I usually sprint on Friday evening. So I might also do that. But for the majority of this week, I do not want to be watching any Booktube during my evenings. Because, I feel like a lot of my evening time goes to Booktube. That's just kind of my way in which I'm procrastinating on reading. I don't have a TV, I don't have Netflix, for example, so I don't have that to keep me from reading, but you always find other things. So I think banning Booktube doesn't automatically mean that I will be reading tons more. But what I've been feeling is that I haven't been able to do other things. For example, I have been wanting to start playing Tomb Raider, for example, and I always feel like I don't have time for it. But then I think about how much time I spend watching Booktube videos from time to time, just going deep into the Booktube archive basically because I'm just really procrastinating at that point. And so I want to try and ban Booktube for the work week, see if that helps me reach my reading goals, for example, and helps me balance reading with other things like gaming or other hobbies a little bit better or not. Alright, so evening one of not watching any Booktube is a success, but I don't think it was such a reading success neither. But I did finally watch the sort of final episode of a sort of Belgian show that I was watching. So it aired 4 weeks ago or something like that. And I was saying that I was gonna watch it all that time, and it never ended up happening. And so now I finally did it because like at some point I was like, okay, I want to turn on YouTube, and I was like, yeah, no, I just made the decision not to do that. And so then instead of doing that, I decided to watch that episode because basically it was while I was having dinner, and so I don't really like reading while I'm eating. So that's why I watched that episode. And then I edited my Friday vlog, so it is in principle more or less done. I still need to kind of like go through it one more time to perhaps edit it down a little bit even further, and I need to like put in the titles of the dates and stuff like that. But it's more or less done, and normally that is not the case at this point in time in the week. A lot of times I still have to edit it on Fridays, so I'm very happy with the fact that I got that editing done already. All right, so it is already Wednesday and I finally have time to read. So it is great weather here in Belgium, but that also means that my allergies have started acting up. So I did spend the entirety of last night outside, and I don't know whether that's the reason why, but I've been feeling a little bit of agitation in the eye and a little bit of like my nose has been, you know, it's not like I've been having to sniff every 5 seconds or something like that, but I definitely feel that the nose is not very happy neither. So I'm not gonna stay indoors for the rest of today just to avoid further exposure. I have also started my allergy medication on Monday, but it's like it's sort of thing that you need to take regularly in order for it to take effect. So it hasn't really taken effect yet. But so I am starting my reading now for today. I don't know yet whether I'm gonna be like listening or like watching sprints or not, or whether I'm just going to be reading as it is. And I'll probably be changing from this book to another book as well because it is a chunker. So this is where I'm at more or less. I don't think I'm that much further into it. I am a quarter of the way into Master Artificer by Justin Call. So this is the sequel to Master of Sorrows, which is a first book in the fantasy series, which is called The Silent Gods. Basically, it's going to be a 12-part series in which we are watching our protagonist Anef transform from a cute little cinnamon roll character who has a disability as well, which is something that I just want to mention here because I love the disability rep in Master of Sorrows. And so we will be seeing him transform from this sort of cute cinnamon roll character that we meet at the beginning to apparently a force of evil. So it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to do that and how he's going to make that nuanced enough that we still keep on rooting for the character, that he really becomes a sort of like morally gray character, or that we really get to that point where we question our own morals because we keep on supporting the character, for example. So not much that I can tell you guys about this sequel, of course, because there is a whole lot that happens in the first book, and so almost anything that I would tell you about what is going on in the second book would spoil the way in which the first book develops. So at this point in time, I am enjoying the second book, but I'm also not fully invested in it yet. It is, of course, also so much longer, so it probably and so I do feel like it's taking a lot more time with its setup than Master of Sorrows originally did, for example. So I'm not really hooked yet, you know, I'm not at that point yet where I just want to continue on reading and I cannot put it down yet. And so for that reason, I think I'm going to be like splitting my time between this book and then something else, which I have yet to decide what that something else is going to be. Just because at this point in time, I'm the type of reader who, I'm not a marathon reader, I'm not a speed reader neither. And so I often have multiple books going on at the same time so that, you know, when I'm kind of tiring of one story, I switch over to the other until I get to a point in one of my current reads that I can no longer like digress my attention from it, and then I will like finish that one and then pick up an extra book, and so the cycle continues. And so I'm at that stage with this book now where I've been pushing myself to read a lot of it over the weekends, but I feel like if I keep on doing it like that, then I might actually end up in a slump unless this book is going to immediately start picking up from the moment that I pick it up now. And so, yeah, for that reason, I'm going to be spreading my time between two books. But I'll talk about that second book at a later point within this video so that I don't just overrun you guys with synopsis at this point in time. Hey guys, it's Friday evening and I am basically waiting around for my friend who will join me in like a little under 2 hours because we'll be watching gymnastics. It's Friday evening. I have barely done any reading this week. I am very much starting to fear that I have to admit that I'm in a reading slump at this point in time. So I might have to kind of like stir things around and start reading a few more like easy reads and stuff like that in order to get me out of this slump and get me give me a little bit more of a reading momentum again, because there are a lot of books that I want to get read in this month, and you know, I want to support my team for the readathon. And so at this point in time, I'm just really barely reading, and that it really isn't to do with the books, because when I am reading them, I am definitely enjoying them, but you know, I find myself struggling continuing on reading for a longer time. I'm always somebody who cannot really marathon read, but at this point in time, definitely I feel like after like I can barely even get through a chapter without feeling like I've done enough reading for the day. And it's also the case that I'm not really like automatically picking anything up neither. I really kind of have to tell myself like, okay, time to pick something up. So this really nice challenge of not watching Booktube in the evenings in order to have more time to kind of read, it's turning into me using that time to watch TV, which is also a good thing because I barely spend time watching TV shows. So I'm rewatching Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at this point in time. And that is something that I have been putting on, and basically reading is currently distracting from watching that. So I'm gonna be embracing the slump for a little bit, but hopefully I'll still have enough sort of like reading progress within this video to make an interesting vlog for you guys, but we'll have to see what ends up happening with that. In terms of my plans for Friday night, I'm gonna be watching gymnastics at 2 o'clock in the morning. I got like a 1 month subscription to a gymnastics channel just to be able to watch it live, because it's fun to watch it live for once rather than just like waiting around the next day until the footage drops on YouTube. I like to watch it together with my friend and be able to just like watch it immediately, not be spoiled for all of the results because you've already seen all of that on Instagram and stuff like that. So that's what we'll be doing tonight. I already started to prepare some snacks for us to enjoy while we're doing that, and I am currently having a little bit of a wake-up call, a little bit of coffee, because I am too excited about it, I guess, because I was originally gonna try and sleep, but that didn't end up happening, and I'm still wide awake. But I think it's probably best to get a coffee now so that I don't start to feel like super sleepy right before the event starts, because that would also be super stupid. Hey guys, Saturday I just took another nap because apparently I'm still not recovered from staying up all night. I mean, all night, not, but until somewhere around 4 o'clock, I guess. Today I am changing my strategy. So I changed to another book in the hope that that would work better, but it's not so far. So I changed to a story from Arcanum Unbounded. I'm currently reading The Secret History, but yeah, I mean, I've struggled through 50 pages or so, but I still really struggled with getting that far. So I'm really kind of in a slump at the moment, really slumping, and part of it is also just, I think I'm kind of exhausted. So every single time that I've read in the past week, I've always been battling sleep. And that was the case now again. And of course, I've only slept for about 5 hours today, but it has been the same all week. So I did just take a little bit of a nap, hoping that that will kind of help, that I just need to, rest up properly for once. But yeah, I won't be talking about this book in this vlog because I'm going to do a spoiler-filled vlog for it. It'll be a very short video because this is only a 160-page story. But so yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. That's going to be my strategy for today. Finishing that one, which is about 160 pages. So even though like going into it, I thought like, okay, there's just going to be a few hours because I'm going to fly through it. I'm still really slumping, so really struggling with it. So I'm going to be happy if I get through those 160 pages today. I finished something. I feel happy with the fact that I finally finished something. So I finished Mistborn's Secret History. I could show you this, but this is the Arcanum Unbounded. And yeah, you'll have to, if you've read Mistborn, you can look at my thoughts on this within my spoiler-filled vlog, if you've read Mistborn's Secret History. But I gotta say that my overall feelings about Mistborn's Secret History is a little bit like meh, a little bit like, I don't think I needed this. I don't think like there are nice extra elements to that story. Nice like cosmic elements to it, but the story in and of itself, I didn't necessarily need it or feel like it added something to my cosmic knowledge or whatever, except for those small elements as I kind of indicated. But so I kind of finished something, and while like in the beginning I was still struggling with like feeling slumpy, feeling tired, that nap around lunchtime really did do me quite well, and so I have definitely been enjoying it. Like I have not been struggling with the reading part that much. I've been struggling a little bit with the novella itself, but the reading itself, the experience is very different. It's very difficult to explain, I think, because, in principle, I wasn't necessarily moving through this book quicker than I have been with, for example, Master Artificer. But with Master Artificer, I, for example, felt like the slowness in which I was going through it was because I wasn't feeling like reading, or was because I was struggling reading, but it wasn't the text. Whereas here, I felt like I was finally getting sort of that momentum back, that normal way of reading, but the text wasn't really speaking out to me, so to speak. So I think that is like, it's hopeful. It makes me hope that we are getting out of this slump. In any case, I was also, as I said, rewatching Agents of Shield, and there was an episode that I wanted to get to, and I have gotten to that. So that's also perhaps part of the reason why I'm not struggling as much, because I feel less of an inclination to continue on with Agents of Shield now. I will definitely still continue on, but like now I don't feel the need to constantly break up my reading in order to get one episode further, for example. So yeah, just have a pizza in the oven now, and then I'm gonna choose my next read. I'll probably make it. I probably won't continue with Master Artificer for a bit, just to make sure that I'm out of this slump before diving back into that one. So I think I'll probably read my other short book on my 5-book TBR. So I'll probably read In the Miso Soup by Ryu Murakami. So I'll start that after I have my pizza ready. So there, like, I'm hoping, guys, that I'm out of this slump now. I mean, it wasn't a super long slump, neither. Like this week and last week, I guess. And I have been reading throughout the period, but still, like, there's so much I want to get around to this month, and I was really feeling like this was a low intensity month in terms of my TBR. So there are a lot of other books that I've been meaning to put in there in the past months that I wasn't able to get around to, that I do want to. So hopefully I can still turn this month around and finish more than just my sort of like 5-book TBR. At the very least, I'm finishing Master Artificer aside of those 5 books, but I want to get to some more than that. Morning. I'm waking up. So I started In the Miso Soup yesterday, and I gotta say that it is super fast paced, so that's great considering the fact that I was feeling slumpy. So I would definitely say that it is gonna be a relatively quick read, and I think it really reads very digestible, and you can fly through it basically. But it's also, not gonna lie, it's also quite disturbing to read it, which is okay, I guess, since it's a horror. But so the premise is that we have our protagonist Kenji, who kind of has this sort of like side hustle almost going on of, like offering sex tours around the red light district in Tokyo to tourists. And so he is hired by this American tourist called Frank, and he has hired him for like 3 days of going around the red light districts and going to different establishments, and getting a taste for the Tokyo nightlife. And at the same time, the Tokyo nightlife has just been shaken up because there has been some murders going on of prostitutes in the area. Relatively quickly, our protagonist Kenji starts to believe that Frank is actually the one portraying these crimes. And so you kind of get this sort of cat and mouse game in which Kenji's trying to figure out whether Frank is lying to him and whether there's more to whether Frank is actually a psychopath. But so yeah, you can imagine, considering we're in like we're considering the book's taking place in red light districts and stuff like that, that there is some very uncomfortable dialogue, for example, or uncomfortable things going on. Though I think though I think it could be much worse, of course. Like, you know, two guys with the intent of visiting red light district could have much more uncomfortable conversations than these guys are having. So also don't think that it's like a super vulgar book neither, but there are definitely moments in which I'm like, yeah, okay, that's not necessarily what I'm enjoying about the book. But I will say, as I said, it is very fast paced, and I do definitely like the sort of like tense vibe between these characters. Kind of reminds me a little bit to that extent of Hannibal the series, and that sort of tension between Hannibal and I don't even know, Will was the name of the series protagonist, I think. You know, that sort of cat and mouse game between those two. That kind of reminds me of, you know, the dialogue going on between these guys. But so yeah, I'm not that far in. I'm like a third of the way, maybe, not even probably into the book. But yeah, I really am quite enjoying it. You know, I think it is a great read for me at this point in time because, you know, as I said, it is so fast paced. So it is going to be one that I can finish again today and give me a better feeling about my progress so far, because that will mean that I'm like a fifth of the way through my reading goal for the month, which is, you know, on track again. All right. New week, new work week. I'm actually quite motivated today, which is quite a change from my usual Monday mood. Monday usually is a big fight against the lack of motivation. But so having a great morning so far. But in any case, let's round off this reading vlog. My reading yesterday didn't really go all that well because I kind of really watched a whole lot of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So the experiment of last week taught me that if I cut down on the Booktube, that basically just means that I'll be replacing Booktube with TV, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I definitely want to curb my Booktube watching a little bit more, if that then means that I can watch more TV, because I used to watch a lot of TV and that really hasn't happened a lot over the past few years. So I do definitely want to be watching more like series and things like that, more movies again. So I'll definitely be making sure that I do like not spend as much time watching Booktube as I have been growing used to. You know, a lot of times I just put on something just because I don't really, you know, want to be reading or anything like that, but not necessarily because I have a huge like motivation to watch that particular video, for example, at that particular time. So sometimes it really is just a case of filling up time, and perhaps I would rather be spending that time then on a particular series, like on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., for example, at this moment, which I kind of stopped in season 4 or something like that, and so I now want to catch up to that, for example. But so in terms of reading, it didn't really replace my Booktube watching time with reading time, but I am getting out of that slump, so happy with that. I did get some further like 85 pages or something in the miso soup, which I don't think it isn't really my thing, but it is also a genre that is outside of my comfort zone. But I'm also like, I also want to know what's going to happen. I want to know how this story is going to unfold. So while it isn't really my thing, and I have kind of considered putting it down at some points, there is also enough there to kind of steer me through and make me want to see, okay, how is this going to go down? There are a lot of uncomfortable stuff, and there's like stuff that is also, of course, slightly problematic. Apart from those things, I'm definitely quite enjoying my read, and I'm interested to see how the story is going to go down. But so I'll be probably finishing that one tonight, and then maybe even a second one as well tonight, because I also have an audiobook that is like close to being finished. So we'll just have to see. Maybe I can get some further reading in tonight, and then I'll have 3 books finished on the 7th of the month. That would be nice. So maybe I can push myself to do that tonight. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know that it was a little bit less motivational, I guess, because I was slumping, but you know, I'm feeling good now about reading. I'm feeling good about the way that I've been reading and about how I've been feeling while reading throughout this weekend. So hopefully that will continue on. So hope you guys still enjoyed this video, and see you guys for a future one. Bye.